First big adjustment will be for Entomologist. Entomologist's biggest adjustment here will be the fact that her bee cooldown duration has been reduced from 20 seconds to 15 seconds here. So if we just disperse the bees, as you can see, it goes on straight towards that 15-second cooldown. Now, not only that, the next biggest buff here for Entomologist is actually the fact that when BQ or when the hunter hits your bees twice, instead of reducing the bee duration by 40%, it's only reduced by 35%. So as we can see here, if we hit the bees once, that's barely a quarter of your bees gone, and if you hit the bees twice, that's in total 35% of your cooldown duration used. But in another sense too, this simply means that your bees is actually 6 hits instead of 5 hits, because if we reduce it from 40% to 35% and every 2 hits it's 40%, then that means in 5 hits, 5 by 20, it's 100% of your bee used. However, for our hunter right now, we have to hit the bee 6 times instead of 5 times. So as you can see here, I've currently hit the bees a total of 4 times already. We just wait for the cooldown to be over and we can actually use the bees 2 more times and force the hunter to hit the bees 2 more times before our bees actually fully disperse here. So this is, honestly speaking, a very strong buff from the side of Entomologist. So as you can see here, that's already been 5 hits and you still have enough bees remaining for the number 6 hit. So this is a really good buff from the side of Entomologist. But of course, that's not it as well. For Entomologist, I won't be able to show you this, but apparently when you move the bees, you're able to actually see where the bees outline is. So this basically allows other, well, it's not just Entomologists, right? It's also all other survivors in the map. So this simply allows other survivors to know where your bees are for better coordination and better harass in solo ranking. Next big buff here will be Lucky Guy. So for Lucky Guy himself, his chest opening and closing speed is very fast now. It's been significantly increased. And when I say opening speed, I mean this animation speed. So if we try to get into the chest here, see how fast it opens and closes. See how fast it opens and closes. That's basically Lucky Guy's adjustment. And not only that as well, Lucky Guy's chest opening speed has been increased from 60% to 100%. So Lucky Guy basically got the toy merchant treatment here with that chest opening speed boost. Not only that, if we check from our item list here, the flashlight has also been increased from 50% to 100% item. And not only that, from now on, a Lucky Guy can get 2 Magician's Wands instead of just 1 Magician's Wand. So he's basically gotten more items for himself to use as well. However, the bigger adjustment here will be his chest opening or his lucky parcel opening. Whenever Lucky Guy wishes for a 50% item, so let's say a gun, a rugby ball, a controller, a pocket watch, a elbow pad, or a perfume, if he fails to get that item, he will get another item that is within that 50% mark. What does it mean? It means that if I wish for an elbow pad, let's say for example, and then it didn't give me the elbow pad, it'll either give me a perfume, a magician's wand, a perfume, a rugby ball, a mech doll, first officer's watch, or Cordy's gun. It will not give you any of the 100% items here. So if we kind of wish for a gun here, let's see if we can get another item here or not. Oh, as you can see there, right, I wish for a gun, but I got a pocket watch instead. This is significantly brilliant from the side of Lucky Guys, because now, early game, he can never ever spawn with a needle on his hands ever again. By the way, I wish for the needle myself, just in case you guys are wondering, because I was at 100% right after opening this chest. But this is all it for Lucky Guy's buff. It's a huge buff for Lucky Guy, and I think he's gonna move up that tier list really darn fast. Next big buff here will be for Gravekeeper. If Gravekeeper's shovel gets cancelled mid-animation, instead of consuming a full shovel, it will just be a 10-second reduction on the shovel time. So if we just drop a bomb down here and I time this properly, as you can see here, your full shovel has actually not been consumed, and it's only 10 seconds of the shovel time that has been consumed, and it's barely just a little bit above a quarter of that shovel too. So it simply just means, no matter how bad you do, I don't think GK will be too punished in a sense as well, because you can basically force cancel your shovel like 3 times and still have that shovel. We just wait here once again. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I drop a bomb down and I go into a shovel mode. And as you can see here, I still have my second shovel no matter what. So it does seem like your shovel lasts for 35 seconds. It's only a 10-second depletion. It's not too bad. I'll be honest with you, it's a major buff for Gravekeeper. Mind's Eye has actually received quite a few buffs, but we'll talk about the first one first. So Mind's Eye got the mechanic treatment. Mind's Eye now vault windows 15% slower instead of 22% slower. So the vaulting debuff has been reduced from 22% to 15%. So she's basically like a normal vaulter here when she brings knee-jerk reflex, right? But that's not only a King Strike from the side of TME. Instead of it being a 50-second cooldown, it will now be a 45-second cooldown. Well, with the fact that TME's King has been reduced from 50 seconds to 45 seconds, this simply just means that with her next adjustment here, when she strikes the King, she nullifies any ability that is basically see-through to the Hunter. So if you strike the King here, there's quenching effect that has been activated, but we can't see TME with that quenching effect activated here at all. You can rewind that just to check for it yourself too. But not only that as well, right? It kind of works for a lot of stuff. If we just enable depletion cooldown here, let's say for example now you drop down a Peepers. With that Peepers drop down, you're currently able to see that TME from the wall, but if she strikes that King, she fully hides herself. Now think about this again. Her King duration has been reduced from 50 per second to 45 seconds. Not only that, if she strikes the King immediately early game, quenching effects takes 50 seconds to activate. So TME will have more than enough time to strike that King again to hide herself away from that Hunter. And like this doesn't only work just for Peepers as well. I'm quite sure it works for I'm quite sure it also works for BQ's mirrors. So right now I moved TME a little bit further out. We don't know where I moved her, but you can see the footprints here. I can see TME with my mirror. But what if I strike my King? She fully conceals herself, and this concealment works on everyone. The Hunter cannot see anyone on the map when TME does that, right? So like whether it's quenching effect, Peepers, wanted orders, this is genuinely speaking TME's biggest buff ever. Okay, now then for Explorer's biggest buff right now is wherever he spawns and wherever the pages spawn, it will not spawn more than 70 meters away from the Explorer here. And how can I showcase this to everyone here as well? Let's go dig up the first page first and we'll be right back. Okay, so here as you can see, I'm currently digging my pages and it's currently at around 35%, but we'll just have to reiterate here again, right? Explorer, after he digs up this page, his next page will be within a 70-meter radius. Let's see where it is. It's 67 meters and we go straight over there towards the shack area, and this basically works on every map. So what does this mean? This simply means that Explorer is going to be way more viable in big maps as well. However, I do think the big issue here will probably be the fact that the Hunter will probably know you're gonna dig out the pages, because you know you're gonna have to be within a 70-meter radius after all. But of course, that's not it. For Explorer now, whenever he successfully calibrates or gets that golden calibration, his decoding speed will be, well, his decoding progress will be increased by 0.8%. This is honestly one of the buffs that I didn't expect to see this coming from the side of Explorer, but you know what? I guess if it works, then it works. Okay, then next adjustment for Explorer is actually a buff as well. From now on, whenever Hullabaloo or Feaster uses their tentacles or double surprise, it will not be pointed towards the direction of Explorer. So for example here, I'm standing here Explorer, I'm going to throw one tentacle down and let's see if the tentacle actually aims towards us here or not. So that's the tentacle down right there. I'm gonna slap it down, and as you can see here, the tentacle actually does not indicate where we are. I don't know why they indicated towards the gate, but the tentacle actually does not indicate towards you. For example, if I place a tentacle right in front of the Explorer here too, and Feaster throws it down, I guess that one points at you. In one sense, I guess that one points at you. But like, if you're facing this way and looking at this direction, oh wait, it's because Feaster is looking at that direction. Okay, so it points at the direction that Feaster is looking at, fair enough. Okay then, we'll try this once again. I'm gonna get Explorer, I'm gonna place a tentacle down here. I'm gonna look in this direction. Let's see where my tentacle goes to. Oh, it still goes to Explorer. Okay, I guess then, if that's the case, in one sense as well, if you're... Oh, wait, no. That's the direction the tentacle was actually placed in. Hold on a second. I see now. So let's say if I place a tentacle like this, and it's facing that direction right now, and let's say if I look at Explorer here too, it actually does not aim towards Explorer. Okay, there you go. There you go. Problem solved. It actually does not aim towards Explorer. Because, like, you see, the tentacle's basically going based off where Feaster has initially placed off the tentacle. So even if I place the tentacle next to Explorer here, this will not hit Explorer. There we go. Yeah, so basically double surprise and Feaster's tentacle now will not be able to locate where Explorer is. Okay then, let's look at Magician's major buffs and nerfs. So the first one will be Magician. When he uses his wands, it will be, you can immediately interact with an item. So as we can see here, I'm going to use a wand and drop down a pallet. There's basically no animation in between, and you can immediately animation cancel as well. We'll try using the wand and then vaulting over that pallet too. It's just because this was a big issue here from the side of, you know, this was a big issue from the side of survivors before, and they were using items as well. So like, no matter what happens, if a survivor uses a wand, they can immediately interact with an item regardless of what happens. I'm just going to disable cooldown there to show you guys one last time. I'm going to use wand immediately vault, and you can see there's basically no back animations there too. Another thing about Magician is actually the fact that if we just teleport towards Anne here, so for Magician, in a sense, when you place down your wand, right, when you place down an illusion, the cash can actually take the illusion, and it actually doesn't pounce on towards you. So as you can see there, that cash went on towards the Magician instead, well, the Magician's illusion instead, and not Magician. This basically works for any objects. I am quite sure it works for a wax artist's wax, it works for Hermit's miracle orbs, and it works for Anne's item here too, which is, you know, honestly speaking, very, very nice. Now then, for the next part of this as well, for Magician from now on, whenever he uses his wands, this wand doesn't basically body block. Well, this wand doesn't block your movement, but it does body block. So as you can see here, we can move across from the illusion, but let's see if the hunter can actually move across it from or not. So from the hunter's point of view, we cannot move past it no matter what happens, right? But the survivors can, but the hunter can't. So this is a really good body block scenario here, and it forces the hunter to actually body block for you. Well, not body block for you, but then like to hit your illusion, right? Now, not only that, for Magician, from now on, his movement increase will be increased from 40% to 50% whenever he uses his wand, and not only that, that movement will be reactivated if the hunter hits your illusion. So as you can see there, I gain a movement speed boost. You can kind of see the slight movement increase. We'll do it again, even though it's on red pin. So I'll stand near Anne here. I'm going to use my wand. That's my movement speed boost. Anne's going to hit my illusion. That's another movement speed boost. As you can see there, that was pretty darn fast as well. So Magician will be receiving a huge major buff here for himself for Season 37. Now, let's talk about Embalmer. For Embalmer, when you resurrect yourself, you will not gain any abnormality status, such as Ivy's Ostracons, such as Knight's Puddles, or such as Wax Artist's Wax, and many other things. And that's basically what we're going to see here as well. But of course, that's not only it. When your immunity has been depleted, you'll gain a 40% movement speed boost here for 1 second, right? So if we just leech on towards Embalmer here and we get out of Coffin, you should not be able to see Ivy's fear stacks on you. So as you can see here, no Ivy's fear stacks. And not only that too, if you come over here as well, right, we'll be gaining a 1 second movement speed boost there that you just saw a while ago. I'm not too sure if you saw it or not, so we're gonna have to redo that again. So I will just place a coffin down. I'm gonna force Ivy here to hit me here once again. So on the side of Ivy, I'm gonna hit myself, and then we're gonna look for that 40% movement speed boost here once again. So we're gonna re-embalm ourselves here, and just to reiterate, when I walk in towards the Ostracon zone, I will not gain any fear stacks during immunity phase. So no fear stacks. And 3, 2, 1, look at the top right, 0, we should be gaining 1% movement speed boost. There we go. That's a 1% movement speed boost there that is just highlighted on my screen. Now let's look at Little Girl. So Little Girl has quite a big adjustment. The first one is her pages. She'll have 1.6 pages instead of 1.2 pages initially early game. It seems like we started with 1.5 when the game just started as well. So I'm not sure whether they adjusted it or not to 1.5 instead of 1.6. But you just have more pages when the game initially starts too. And not only that, when you get pushed by your pages, you can immediately vault over windows or pallets without waiting for the animation to cancel here too. We'll just disable cooldown there, and let's see, we're gonna get pushed and we can immediately vault over without actually waiting for the pushback time. This works for all survivors, by the way. We can try this on the pallet as well. We're gonna drop the page down and we'll get pushed, and that's an immediate vault over with no animation at all. But that's not only it too. Your page's pushback distance will be increased as well, as you can see here too. If I would just put a page down here, let's see how far we can actually get pushed. We get pushed outside of the radius. I'm quite sure before you don't really get pushed outside of the radius, but that's kind of what the buffs and adjustments say as well. But yeah, that's that for Little Girl. Quite a nice buff from her side too. I just feel like we're gonna see more Little Girls next season, aren't we? Now then, let's look at Patient's major buff. So for Patient's first buff is the fact that your hook basically comes out faster. As in, when you activate your hook, it'll be very fast, just like that. It's faster than before as well. They've increased the speed of how fast the hook can actually come out. Now, if we just disable the cooldown here, as you can see here, right, there's now a button on the bottom right-hand side of our screen in which you can activate and deactivate. If you activate it, you're able to vault over walls like this when the yellow mark pops up. So we're gonna show it to you here. You basically can just vault over it. However, if you deactivate it, you don't vault over anymore, and it's a dash, and this is basically one of the most scariest thing ever. So this just means that patients have way more leeway when it comes with his dash as well. So we're gonna reactivate it. As you can see here, you can vault over. We're gonna reactivate it. You can vault over. We're gonna deactivate it now. And here you can see, oh, never mind. You don't vault over, I can dash. You don't vault over, you can dash. I just activated by accident. Let's try it again. You don't vault over, you can dash. Let's try it again. You don't vault over, you can dash. But now, I activate it. I can vault over. I deactivated it. I can dash. But not only that as well, before, whenever patient hooks and there's a survivor in front of him, the hook will be cancelled. That has been fully removed. That has been fully removed. So, even if I'm hooking towards a straight line here, by the way. Yeah, so the survivors basically don't block anymore. Physics, where? I don't know, but Patient will be getting a huge major buff here, which his, hooks speed being increased and being able to enable and disable his vault hooks, and no survivor will bother you anymore. Next will be Seer. When Seer looks at one of his survivors, the survivors will get a visual indication of when Seer is looking at them. So if you see on the top side of our screen right now, we can see that there's a highlight on the coordinator where I'm currently looking at her. But it's not only just a visual highlight, by the way, there's also an audio highlight, as you can see here. I think there were like some moaning effects going on there, but like you can see some audio effects in that range too. Let's change a person. Let's go look at maybe Mercenary. Here, as we can see, from Mercenary's point of view, you're able to see some waves for some odd reason. But yeah, there's basically a highlight indication now for Seer in a nutshell. So this basically allows your teammates to know when you're looking at them, and this basically allows your teammates to not use your flywheels or item when you're looking at you're looking at them. Yeah, so with that in mind, Hunter will also not see this effect, by the way. So just keep that in mind. This is a really nice quality of life here for Seer, especially in solo rank. And then let's look at Cowboy's biggest adjustment. So for Cowboy right now, whenever the hunter vaults over the window and he lassos the hunter when he vaults over the window, he basically vaults over the window. I'm not too sure what this means, but I guess before, probably because of the fact that when the hunter was vaulting over, their bodies were body blocking the window. Maybe this works on very short windows as well, but in this case scenario, I guess fair enough. It's like a patch. I guess he should be able to do that before, but they just patched it now, so it's guaranteed. Now, finally, we have a nerf from the side of survivors. From Mech, when a survivor gets injured, instead of a 25% decoding debuff, she'll be receiving a 30% decoding debuff here, as we see up here. So it's being increased from 25% to a 30% decoding debuff. But that's going to be it from the side of survivors. Let's move on straight towards the hunter's adjustments then, shall we? Now then, let's look at Bonbon. So we'll talk about Bonbon's first buff, which is basically here his remote control bomb has now been reduced from 35-second cooldown to 30-second cooldown, and you can basically activate it way faster now with that in mind. But of course, the main thing comes with his Bonbon's chair camp right now, where it has been significantly increased as well. So for Bonbon's chair camp here, if we just land 2 bombs on towards this lucky guy, as we do proceed to pick him up and to chair him, when you chair a survivor, you're actually able to place bombs on towards that chair, and that's his new trait as well, explosive chair. So when we place this survivor on towards the chair and I turn off the AI, you're able to place a bomb on towards the chair, and when you place that bomb on towards the chair, there'll be a 25-second countdown here before you can place another bomb on towards the chair, right? But with this in mind, you're able to place at a maximum of 5 bombs on towards the chair, and per each bomb it will reduce the chair elimination progress by 4 seconds. So in total, it's a 20-second reduction on chair elimination progress. And when a 25-second timer has been ended, as you can see here, 3, 2, 1, boom. It's already a 90% elimination progress here on towards that chair. Bonbon's chair elimination progress here for next season will be insanely OP. Next will be Hullabaloo. Hullabaloo will be receiving a nerf here from the movement speed of 5.26 meters per second to 5.18 meters per second. Hullabaloo's attack recovery animation will be increased to 0.43 seconds right now instead of 0.3 seconds, I'm quite sure, but this attack recovery animation now will slow down Hullabaloo for a significantly longer amount of time. Now, not only that too, for Double Surprise, if I just turn off my cooldown here, Double Surprise cooldown will be increased from 12 seconds to 14 seconds. So if we just disable Double Surprise, cooldown now is currently 14 seconds for it. If we increase our presence for Hullabaloo, when we reach to presence 1, we will only have we will only have 2 trapezes instead of 3. This is a significant nerf for Hullabaloo simply because of the fact that I guess you know, from 2 to 3 it is quite a big nerf as well. But of course, not only dash, Hullabaloo dash duration has been reduced from 1 second to 0.8 seconds. So you can't dash as far away as before anymore. This is very similar to the Night Watch nerf. Okay, let's look at Clown. Clown will be receiving a very big buff. The first buff of his is that when he spawns in, well, not when he spawns, but like his rocket part spawns will be in less riskier places for you to be able to actually pick it up. So for example here, right, back then there probably is really hard places where you can pick up the rocket dashes, well, your rocket parts in general. But for now, from this time onwards, all your rocket equipment will be in safer places to actually pick up. So let's say for example here, if I get my rocket dash on and we just go around the map, we'll just see where is it actually really hard to pick up our rocket dashes, because in the adjustments it says that all rocket dashes now are in pretty much really easy areas here to pick up. So around the map here we go. It doesn't seem like they're near any of the walls at all, and not only that, they're very far away from the cipher machine or from obstacles in general here. So it does seem like from now on, when you're rocket dashing as the Joker, as you see here as well, right, 3 of them in the same location too. This is quite a nice buff for the side of our Clown. But of course, not only that, we'll move on straight towards the second buff. The second buff might actually be the biggest one of it all. When you hit the wall, your rockets don't get cancelled. So for example here, I graze dash. Oh, I graze the tree again. See how I'm being pushed away from the tree. Aside from that part, I guess, since I'm repping. So see how I'm being grazed away from the tree. Right? This is absolutely insane if that's the case, because like with that in mind, you can't, they basically say, okay, you're allowed to graze whatever you want to graze now. So even if you hit it, it doesn't really matter here. If we take for an example that I start around here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to a straight line. I'm going to 180 degree turn here, 180 degree turn. I'm going to hit the edge of this. 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 I'll hit the edge of this. I'll hit the edge. I'll hit this edge. I will hit this edge. I will hit this edge, and so on and so forth. As you can see here, it doesn't really get cancelled. It does not really get cancelled. But beware of, well, right, I'm on red pin as well, so on green pin, it will be a little bit more smoother, and it definitely won't get cancelled in a scenario like that. What is his next buff? His next buff is the fact that your equipping equipment will be way faster now. So if we equip all 3 of our equipment, the equipping time is basically faster than before. That's his next buff in mind. So it just means that you can chase after whoever you want to chase later on too. But of course, there's not only that as well. His next buff will be the fact that when you rocket dash towards a survivor and they cancel their item, your item with their item, for example, let's say prisoner here wants to electrocute me, see how I have 8 rocket dashes on the bottom side of my screen. I'm going to dash towards prisoner right now and he's going to electrocute me. I now have 9 rocket dashes on my item list. So this just means whenever a survivor stuns you or gets rid of your rocket dashes or interrupts your rocket dashes, you'll get that rocket dash back immediately instead of consuming it. That itself is a really strong part. But not only that, let's just get the prisoner here to drop the pallets, right? So when the prisoner drops a pallet and when a weeping clown launches in towards the pallet, your your recovery animation will be 0.2 seconds faster. And not only that, bouncing on towards the wall will make a recovery 0.3 seconds faster. But I guess in this case, it's a little bit weird on what's actually happening here. But I'm just gonna hit a wall, and there you go. It's just 0.3 seconds faster, but that's honestly about it for clowns. Clowns what? That's honestly about it for clowns buff. Next will be Wu Chan. We'll talk about the simple buffs here from Wu Chan first. So for Wu Chan, with White Guard, your normal attack range is increased from 2.95 meters to 3.14 meters. So that is White Wu's attack hitbox increase. However, for Black Wu's normal attack hitbox will be increased from 2.78 meters to 3.06 meters, and not only that, his charge attack range will be increased by 3.04 meters to 3.2 meters. So in a sense that Wu's Blackguard now has a bigger range, and a White Guard also has a bigger range when it comes to his own normal attack, which is pretty insane style on that side too. We will increase our presence here from the hunter's point of view. For Black Wu Chan right now, when you use your bell, the cooldown will be reduced from what? The cooldown will be reduced from 15 seconds to 14 seconds, as you can see down below too. We'll just refresh our cooldown. It'll be reduced from 15 seconds to 14 seconds. You can use this way faster now. Directly teleporting on straight towards Entomologist, but before that as well, right? Your bell right now activates way faster. So this bell now... Oops, wrong button, sorry. But in a nutshell, right, your bell now activates way faster, and the animation is also way faster too, as you see here. That is also another one of the adjustments from Wu's side for the Blackguard. But of course, for Blackguard, right, there was an issue where when you land 2 of your bells on towards the survivors, you can't actually the survivors, you see how in this direction, right, I want to run in a straight line, I run backwards, I run forwards. There's kind of that issue. But with the recent adjustments, they say that if Entomologist gets on her bees and she moves forward, she shouldn't be moving forward, but apparently she still moves forward, so I don't really know what the jazz is about that. But with these tests here, right, we'll just do it once again. You see that black bell around us, we'll just... I'm moving back and forward. I'm moving forward, I'm moving backwards. It's not really working out. But if I get off bees, my bell is gone, but if I get off bees, it's fine. So I'm not too sure what if this adjustment is coming true or it's just still bugged, but that's honestly Woo for now. Quite a major buff. I kind of forgot about this, but Woo, when he throws an umbrella out and it lands on towards the survivor, if the survivor gets out of range, basically the visibility of the survivor will be increased from 5 seconds to 8 seconds, I think. So if we just get this umbrella back, we should still be able to see the survivor for the next 8 seconds instead of 5 seconds. It's either 7 or 8 seconds. It's one between the two. But this is almost about it for Wu Chan's buff. Let's also talk about Breaking Wheel. So Breaking Wheel will be receiving a buff here as well. I'm just gonna cancel my cooldown depletion too. But the first buff for Breaking Wheel will be the fact that your throwing speed of this will be increased by 20%. So you see how fast that is, right? But not only that, if we just get my cooldown back up once again, recasting your traps will now take 4 seconds instead of 5 seconds. So that's going to be a cooldown reduction. If we throw that trap down, the cooldown is 4 seconds now instead of 5 seconds, which is a really nice part about that too. But of course, that is not because the duration that it takes for your traps to regenerate is now going to be 14 seconds instead of 16 seconds. If I just throw that out, I know that's on cooldown, so you can't really see it, but it is going to be 14 seconds instead of 16 seconds from now on. And of course, the last buff here for a Breaking Wheel will be when you change towards human form and back to wheel form and vice versa, the cooldown will only be 5 seconds now instead of 7 seconds. So that'll be a huge buff here from the side of Breaking Wheel. Right then, next one will be Goatman. For Goatman, his initial resentment stacks here will be reduced by 10% for tier 0 and for tier 2. So for presence 0 and for presence 2. We're just gonna use all our cages here, by the way, just so I can show you how slow it is right now. So this is us without any cages, and the resentment stacks are stacking 10% slower compared to the usual. So that is going to be Goatman's first nerf. However, aside from overall dash, if we check out here as well, right, Goatman's attack range will be decreased from 3.37 meters to 3.12 meters. So that's Goatman's next nerf. His nerf right after that will be his charge attack hit. That will be reduced from 3.88 meters to 3.63 meters. So overall right now, for next season, Goatman will be pretty easy to play around when it comes to Pallet Mind games, because he doesn't really have that range to really terror shock you as easily anymore. But of course, not only that too, from the side of Goatman as well, your dash back will take 24 seconds to charge up instead of 20 seconds from now on, as you can see down in my screen below. So with that in mind, we have a resentment nerf, and we have a dashback nerf, and we have our attack range nerf as well. However, of course, that is definitely not just it. We will significantly reduce Goatman's chair camp ability as well, and how is it going to be able to do so? How they're basically going to do it is, they said that in the translation, or in the Chinese version I'm reading right now, it says that they will increase the range of like, you know, the indication of where survivors will break cages faster, is what the translations say. But let's just say for now, right, this is a mechanic nearby. I'm gonna get mechanic to break this cage. And as you can see here, mech breaks the cage really slow. But if we come a little bit closer, like around here, we break this cage. We break this cage is now faster. So as you can see here, right, they increased the range of where survivors have to be near close towards the chair, just so they can break the cages faster. I think this is probably for, you know, something like this that usually happens. If I just reduce cooldown, this is probably just to, you know, like prevent things like this from happening when it comes to chair camp where survivors get double hit. But yep, that's gonna be Goatman's nerf for the season. Now, let's look here first as Fool's Gold. So Fool's Gold, they basically optimized the whole shebang of your pickaxe. So I just think that they probably made it so that it's probably going to be easier for you to actually throw your pickaxe out and not just hit some random obstacles at the edge of the map or something. But I'm not too sure what it really means, but this is still pretty funny at the end of the day. But we'll move on directly towards max presence though, as I just take my hook back. We will not hook my pickaxe back. We will give ourselves a lot of presence here. So basically the next part of his buff is his max presence now only has a 16-second cooldown, and the charge rate has been reduced by 0.25 seconds. So this charge rate is basically faster now, if you can see a difference. But for Fool's Gold mains, you definitely will see a difference. I won't be putting a side-by-side comparison here, I'll be fully honest with everyone, because realistically speaking, it's a now 1 hour video by this point. But it's basically faster now, and the throw effects is a bit nicer too, where it can go over areas like that, I guess, instead of getting stuck to a wall. But it is still pretty funny how like it got stuck by this part. The fact that it got stuck over here is hilarious to me, but I guess that's still only just shock for now. Now then, let's look at Undead. So for Undead, if we just turn on off AI cooldown here, there are 4 big adjustments for Undead, and they're all buffs. The first one is the animation when you finish your dash hit will be reduced. So as you can see here, I don't know if you can see a difference or not, but this has been reduced significantly with the recovery animation after his sword has been gone up. So that is his first buff. Now for next buff is where we actually activate the chop block. So for chop block, the animation will also be significantly increased as well. As you can see here, you actually dash down there way faster compared to before. So that is that for chop block. We've actually increased his range of charge strike by 20%. So this range now is actually way bigger. If I just hold it for a really long time, here, as you can see, this is a really big range. But also at the same time as well, right, if we just think about it, you don't necessarily need to do that big of a range. Once you reach the mark, it will stop expanding, and then you just hold on towards the rest, realistically speaking. Okay, next will be Clerk. So for Clerk, they've actually optimized her scrolls, where you can actually place scrolls up and down the stairs like this. I'm not too sure what the issue was before, but apparently it's like an optimization on the side of Clerk where there was an issue with these scrolls not being able able to land on towards the survivors. But honestly speaking, that's kind of it there for Clerk. There's nothing major on the side of Clerk. Next character will be Evil Reptilian. Evil Reptilian here will be receiving a nerf when it comes to his balloon hits. His balloon hits charge attack, not charge attack, his balloon hits animation attack will be longer now compared to before. So they kind of slightly increased it. I'm quite sure they've increased the attack recovery too when they miss. As you can see here, it is pretty long. But overall for Reptilian, we've increased his attack recovery animation for charge attack and just the whole charge attack in general. Next will be Gamekeeper. For Gamekeeper, we have basically reduced his attack recovery animation by 0.3 seconds. So as you can see here, this is actually really fast. And it seems like from the side of devs, we have decided that we want to increase the shock radius of Gamekeeper by 20%. So as you can see here, you can shock survivors from this distance compared to before. Like this is a huge shock distance, by the way. They've increased it by 20%. So this will counter the likes of harass characters in the near future too. But for Gamekeeper, it is, I'll be honest with you, it's quite a big buff if they increase the shock range by 20%. Now then, next we'll look at Soul Weaver. So for Soul Weaver, in a nutshell, her webs here has been significantly optimized. Now, when you place the webs on towards the walls will not consume the web, and you can actually basically take the webs for the movement speed boost. And not only that, they've also said that they've kind of optimized the movement speed boost on the webs of how, you know, it decreases after the significant period of time. But aside from that, I think this is probably one of the big adjustments that she's gonna ever get, because whenever a Soul Weaver main places web like me, it just gets consumed by the wall. So that's kind of like the really unfortunate part. But now it'll be stuck out here a little bit more instead of actually being inside the wall. So that's really good for Soul Weaver mains. And of course, not only that, see, we're currently at max presence, right? Soul Weaver, when regaining her web threads, she gains 1.4 per second instead of 1.2. This is absolutely brilliant for endgame when she reaches max presence too, and especially with the fact that Soul Weaver is one of those characters that actually can reach max presence easier than any other hunter because of her spit. So with that, that's Soul Weaver's big adjustment for next season. Now then, let's look at the map adjustments here for Factory first. So for Arms Factory, we've reduced the amount of barrels near the actual factory area, and it also does seem like for some odd reason this pallet is a little bit further away from this pallet going in towards the factory, because like if you just see here, right, it just seems like the distance is pretty far away. I won't lie to you. Before it was like around this area where it was a straight line maybe, but I could also be dreaming too. But like, you know, the reduction of the barrels here will be the biggest nerf in this map. Now of course, next but not least, if we just move on straight towards Factory Gate. At Factory Gate, as you can see here, we've actually destroyed a wall and make a second entrance here for the hunters to actually go through. This probably will be better suited for fast chase hunters like Geisha, like BQ when they play type Palamine games, or even Nightwatch overall. But in a sense as well, you still do have to break this pallet no matter what if the survivors do decide to rotate behind this area here if they want to contain. So this pallet still has its own use, but if you're going to rotate from this cipher machine towards this pallet and you Windows speed boot, or not Windows speed boots, but need your reflex out, you might have to be forced to come into here. But that's all there is for factory adjustment. Okay then, the next adjustment will be for Sacred Heart Hospital. As you can see here, this wall here has been broken down significantly in order to give hunters more visibility and in order to allow hunters to actually play like mind games a little bit better here as well, considering the fact that this is so kind of, you know, short now with this short wall. Overall, I think it probably would be beneficial to both hunters and to survivors, especially with the fact that you could still, well, I guess for Fire Investigator you can't put any airbags down, but you still could provide some support since this is a bit more of an open area here. But I guess it would suit more of the likes of Geisha, Nightwatch, or distance pulling characters in general, and you're able to see who's coming from hospital as well. So it's overall not too bad for hunters. For survivors though, I'd like to hear your opinions about this. Of course, the next one here will be cornfields. It seems like cornfields got a major adjustment here, with the farmers being a little bit tired to plant any more corn. The amount of corns here in this area will be reduced significantly. However, we'll be adding an extra wall and an extra pallet in this area for us to actually allow us to, you know, easier transition towards the next nearest window or pallet. But also at the same time, it does seem like we've added a window here too in order to for survivors to actually play mind games around, which I'll be fully honest with you, I guess in a sense this adjustment is used to try to counter fast chase type hunters near endgame, but this is going to be really hard for chip hunters, I feel, in general, because this one window can kind of ruin a Gala's day or a Bonbon's day, depending on how well you play it. But that's not only it as well. If we move ourselves straight towards the middle area here, in the middle area here, it does seem like we have added an extra pallet in this zone too. Before, it was just this one pallet here alongside with this one wall, and then the next pallet on this side. However, with the newest adjustment, we'll be adding a second pallet here in this area in order for survivors to contain for just a little bit longer too. Now, not only that as well, you may think, hey, this is pretty strong kudo, isn't it? Let's move on towards beach then. Inside beach, it does seem like from the dev's point of view, we've decided to add this little zone for ourselves. It'll be like a nice mini lawn shot, like it's a long wall. In a sense, you won't be able to see where the hunter is coming from, which is pretty bad for the survivors. However, the good news here is when you're going up against Gamekeeper or any like hunters that dashes through walls like Geisha, you won't be forced to rescue instantly. So in a sense, you can contain it around this area before you actually rescue. However, I do feel like the biggest issue here is it's a huge buff for the survivors because you don't necessarily have to put this pallet down. All what you have to do, perform a rescue, run away, and then survivors drop this pallet down. I'd say it's gonna be pretty much a really easy rebound containment from the side of survivors, considering these two pallets, no, well, not these two pallets, but these two pallets are pretty close towards each other now too. Next will be Moonlit River Park. For Moonlit River Park, there's some buffs and nerfs, but one of the major buffs is actually this corner area here where we've actually decided to add an extra pallet for some reason, and of course one extra window too. I guess in one sense it's kind of hard for survivors to rotate away from this area towards the next best containment area. However, also at the same time, survivors have been using this as kind of like a rotation point towards the next nearest pallet or window. But just by adding this one extra long pallet, hunters will be forced to break this pallet no matter what, because as you can see here, this is a very enclosed space. So if you really want to play mind games in this area, you're gonna have to break that pallet first no matter what, and then deal with the window scenario. But aside from all that, let's look at one of the actual, well, it's not a nerf, but it's an adjustment. At the two-story gates, it seems like we've fully destroyed the wall. Well, the door is still there, but it's been pushed over here a little bit more so no one can actually dodge it. Well, or even just hide around this area. I think this is good for both hunters and survivors, because initially speaking, hunters can't block this area to force survivors to not come into rescue or rescue after half, or to take the other way. And from the side of survivors too, survivors are able to block this area to force the hunter to hit them and then allow the other survivor to rotate away, maybe towards coaster or something. This, in a nutshell, to me is more of an adjustment than a nerf or a buff. I just feel like it kind of works well with both hunters and survivors. Now let's look at Darkwoods. For Darkwoods, we've added an extra pallet here for the survivors to actually play around with, and for an easier or even successful rebound kite containment. So this one pallet here is going to make quite a big of a difference when it comes to rebound kiting, but you're still near a window anyway, so you could potentially just need your reflex out and play around this long pallet. But in Darkwoods, they did buff the map a little bit for survivors for them to actually have this pallet in use. Now, not only that as well, it's not just a buff, it's also a nerf here that's coming into our, well, it's a nerf or an adjustment, because it seems like from NetEase's point of view, they finally realized that when you drop down from the two-story area here, you can immediately gain access towards the windows, which is why they decided to drop down a pallet here instead of a window. And they just fully removed the window, to be honest with you. We have also removed this pallet here and then rotated it towards this area, in which I guess in one sense, fair enough, survivors can drop down this pallet and then go straight upstairs, and it's kind of considered a buff for me in a sense as well. There are like multiple windows in this room before. You can even vault over this one. So I just feel like from survivor's point of view, you could potentially vault this window, and then if there's that pallet drop down to, you can take a knee-jerk reflex out of the area, or you can go towards this pallet here. So overall, what I would say from the side of Darkwoods, it's not too bad. I think it's more of an adjustment than a nerf for you know, the two-story area. But of course, for that chair all the way over there, it is definitely a buff. Now, last but not least, with the last adjustment here, I guess it kind of just suits survivors here a little bit more. For the last adjustments, we have made sure that there only spawns 1 chair in this area instead of 3 chairs. And just for the sake of it as well, we are going to see if the Easter egg actually still activates, even if there's only 1 chair at this area. Just so this marks as the end of the video. So we're going to be able to get Perfumer down here. And once Perfumer goes down, let's just share Perfumer and see whether or not the Dream Witch Easter egg will come out here. So with us getting that Perfumer on towards the chair, let's see here what we're going to be able to see. We will speed this up by a lot. Okay, that's Perfumer eliminated, but we don't really see the Easter egg anymore, so that's a little bit unfortunate that the Easter egg here will be fully removed from Darkwoods. However, that will be the end of our very long adjustment video here for the end of season 36. Hopefully everyone enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed this, to be honest with you. I hope this was informative, and of course, if you like this video, please like. If you want to subscribe, please subscribe. But that's going to be it from me today. Have a good day, good night, sugar ones, and we will see y'all in season 37.